what do the scriptures say about Buddha being a part of Hinduism? And this isn't a Buddhism versus Hinduism battle. I feel we're all one at the end of the day, especially when we talk about Indian cultures.
I think there are a lot of scriptures that mention, see, it's not up to you or me to decide whether he was an incarnation or not. It's what the scriptures say. A lot of scriptures do mention Buddha. And, all that I would say is that, please try and research a little. People who say that Buddha was not an incarnation in references from scriptures that do mention Buddha. Some people argue that there are 2 or 3 different Buddhas mentioned. But every time they are mentioned as an incarnation.
Okay. What do you mean 2 or 3 different Buddhas?
So there are different timelines, different Buddhas emerged, for different purposes.
Wow.
So some places, some scriptures that they mention that Buddha was born in Gaya. So some people argue that, Buddha was not born in Gaya, so this is not that Buddha. There are different arguments that people have against Buddha being a part of the list. But there are many scriptures who do consider him in the list. And interestingly, in one of the tantras, it's called the Rudra Yamal Tantra, there's a story of Brahma Rishi Vasisht going to the Tibet area to learn the worship of the goddess through the Vam Marg. So in that story, Vasisht has been trying for thousands of years to please the goddess. Okay, and some stories mention it was in the vicinity of the Kamakhya temple in Assam. Some mention that he was close to the ocean. But, in both the stories, both the versions, for thousands of years he's trying, but he's unable to please the goddess. And then the goddess, he utters a curse that, nobody will be worshipping this place. So Kamakhya temple was actually under thick vegetation for a really long time. And it was rediscovered later. And goddess appears and she says that, why are you cursing, the Tirth Sthan, it's of no use. Your method is wrong. You should go to Mahachan area and learn this method from the Buddha Swarup who's there. So I'm not sure whether it refers to Buddha himself or it refers to a representative of Buddha. But some books, they mention Buddha Rupi Vishnu. But in many tantras, it's written, that it was Vishnu who was in the Rupa Buddha. Right? So Vasisht goes there and there he learns the method of Vam Marg. And I feel, instead of finding differences and, creating differences, we should find common ground between the religions. I'll just highlight one difference between the two philosophies is that, in these philosophies like Buddhism and Jainism, asceticism is a virtue, So you can, the highest goal is to leave this world, become an ascetic, Spiritually, advancement needs you to become a hermit or have a hermetic approach towards life. In Hinduism, this was an inclusive concept. I would say, in these philosophies that are considered heterodox philosophies, these are not orthodox philosophies that came up along with Hinduism in ancient India around 500, 600 BC. That, these philosophies, they laid more stress on living a life of seclusion, on controlling your senses. In Hinduism, the focus was on dharma, arth, kam and moksha. It was not just moksha. It was a holistic life. The Varna Ashram Dharma, which is 4-fold division of everything. So you learn in Brahmacharya, you learn about the scriptures, you learn the basic concepts, right? In Grihastha Ashram, you earn money. You enjoy the carnal pleasures of life, your conjugal relationships and everything. In the Vanprasth, you learn to detach yourself from everything. And in Sannyas is your ascetic life. So in Hinduism, there was a gradual progression towards asceticism. Whereas in these philosophies, it was a sudden movement. The moment you get enlightenment, leave everything and go. That is what Buddha did, right? So,
or the moment you get the inspiration to chase it.
Yeah. So in Hinduism, always it has been a gradual progress. Hinduism never looked down upon sannyasis. So, there's a belief that, these religions are always at loggerheads. There was friction between them historically. There must have been friction because they're different philosophies ultimately, fighting for supremacy. And Vedanta ultimately won, in India because of debates and because of Adi Shankaracharya and a lot of other bhakti movement came into play and all that.
What do you mean one? As in like the masses adopted Hinduism more than...
Yes, the principle. See, for any society to survive, you need a certain population to be involved in economic pursuits, a certain set of population involved in protecting the country. If everybody becomes a sannyasi, how will the society survive, right? So there was a positive way to look at things. And there's no differentiation between the teachings in the sense that, we all talk about your salvation. In Buddhism, salvation means something else. In Hinduism, it means something else. But we are all talking about salvation, right? But in Hindu philosophy, the fourfold division of Varna, Ashram, Dharma, it helped a person experience everything which the world has to offer, get experiences, get the knowledge from the scriptures, from the gurus, as a householder, perform duties. Who will sustain the society if you don't marry? If the society will not continue, right? If you don't perform yajnas, if you don't do temple worship or give dan, so how will these people survive? How will the mendicants survive? Because the sannyasis, they don't earn, right? For sannyasis to survive, there has to be a householder, right? For them to survive. For vanpras, people who have gone to the forest to survive, they have to be, their family to look after their needs. So it's a symbiotic relationship. The Varna, Ashram, Dharma, everybody looked after each other.